Arsenal are going to win the league, and Arteta has been criticized for over experimenting in certain matches. So, Partey and right back, for example. Um, I don't watch every Arsenal match, so I don't see where lays the problems for the individual experimentations. But um, Partey right back against Fulham, could have cost him the Fulham match if Partey was a midfielder and he was starting as a right back against Fulham. So you beat Fulham by not putting players out of position. And I think that's what's gonna be the difference is Arteta is he's not gonna overly experiment at the start of the season. He's gonna find one lineup during the preseason could be one of the same lineups we saw during the last 6 weeks of this year. Arteta's gonna play the same lineup, stick with it, get a head start to the league. And then the December will come along and we'll start to wonder if Arsenal going to drop points before the break, as what happened this past season. So this is my prediction for the how are Arsenal going to get 100 points. Arteta set the target to 100 points. You break the target by sticking with the same lineup, with the exception for when fixture congestion adds up. So if we're dealing with the situation with the FA Cup and we're dealing with the situation with the Champions League, that's when you can modify things a little bit. Not change things, but modify things a little bit. So it could have came down to not experimenting. They could have won the league if it didn't came down to experimenting with lineups. They could have won the league if it didn't come down to settling for a 0-0 draw at the Etihad. So if it came down to experimentation, if it came down to not getting the goal at the Etihad, then basically it's all set. Arsenal going to win the league next year. And for the record, I have predicted Man City to win the Premier League for the entirety of last season. So we are heading closer to the end of the monopoly, the end of the vice-like grip over the English Premiership from Manchester City. And Arsenal pushed them. They've gotten better. They've pushed City all the way to the last week of the season. And that is a testament to Arsenal. They forced City to be perfect. So City had a match and then a draw. It would have costed them the league. Arsenal didn't bottle anything. Villa were just fantastic with Oli Watkins and Emiliano Martinez. Arsenal were just not clinical in that one match. Villa showed they're the real deal by finishing in the top four. And they were greatly rewarded with their monumental efforts. They were greatly rewarded. The Premier League could have been decided by experimentation. What if Partey doesn't start at right back against Fulham? There's 5 dropped points against Fulham because Arsenal lost against Fulham and they drew against Fulham. So there's 5 dropped points against Fulham. So I think it's a valid argument that Arsenal could have dropped points due to experimentation in the lineup. That was a criticism of Arteta against Aston Villa. So I think the next Premier League will come down to the manager. He's gonna not change things and experiment too much. It's gonna result in Arsenal winning the Premier League. They will not experiment. It's what it's gonna come down to. They're not gonna experiment. So because Man City won the league again, people are gonna question the uh, the parity of the Premier League. But I must warn you, everything's gonna be fine. It's not gonna collapse as an institution. It's not gonna collapse. It's not gonna collapse. We'll be okay.